This video is for parents and family members of children with spina bifida and hydrocephalus. If you belong to this group, if you believe that your child has the same right to education as any other and you want to support him or her, stay with us. I'm Slaveja Kostadinova from Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Bulgaria Association. The video you're watching now is part of a larger Multidisciplinary project. Within Multidisciplinary, in collaboration with Early Intervention Center Trnava and other associated partners, we have developed informational materials for the various groups of professionals in school and kindergarten. These sets of manuals and training videos will help them to support the education of our children in the most effective way. All training materials are available for free on the project website. You see it on the screen. Introduce them to the professionals working with your child. Let's go back to parents who nowadays are an essential part of inclusive education, a valuable partner of school professionals. Today we will look at this side of parenting and we will be focusing on our children with their rights, needs and specific barriers in education. When it comes to the right to education of our children, we can always turn to two very important documents recognized by the international community. These are the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The Convention of the Right of the Child guarantees your child's right to education, as well as all other children in the world. At the same time, CRPD requires the state to fulfill this right through the creation of an inclusive educational system. Your child as a person with a disability has the right to an inclusive education. It turns out that inclusive education is a complex concept and could hardly be described in a few sentences. It is considered by various authors as a concept, a model, and a learning system. We have included a short text in the manual for parents, but the Multidisciplinary general guidelines cover the topic in depth. What is important to know as parents is that inclusive education provides the right of your child to study in a mainstream class at the local school together with the other children from the neighborhood. There, she or he should get the support needed to be successful, adapted environment and free access to the classroom, learning support, help with CIC. For successful inclusion, most children with spina bifida and hydrocephalus need the support of a multidisciplinary team at school and kindergarten. It may include teachers, psychologists, assistants, nurses, and school administration. Although not professionally trained, parents have an important place in this team with specific roles and functions. We will look at some of them with the help of real-life examples. No one in the educational system knows the student better than his or her parents. This is not just about health issues or specific needs. Parents know their children's talents, strengths, and interests. Don't doubt your expertise and don't be afraid to pass that knowledge on to the professionals. The information provided by you can support their work in a unique way and will be treated as confidential in all cases.
You know, I could tell she had talents from a very early age. She was good at everything she did, especially at singing. Ever since she was a little girl, she played with musical toys, spoke Russian from the age of 18 months, handled smartphones and managed to sing every song she heard on the radio. When she moved to Dimcho de Belanov, a secondary school, we were asked if she had any hobbies and what did she like to do. We answered that she can sing well and that she even sings in a choir. One day at school, there was this musical event. I went to the school principal and I reminded her that Anna Simona, my daughter, sings very well. Then she came to me herself and asked if we wanted our daughter to participate in the school's concert here in Varna. We were very happy and of course, we agreed. A delegation of 5 teachers, as well as a jury, came to hear her sing. It was a very exciting moment because the whole time everyone was listening to her with their jaws dropped. They said, "We did not know we had such talent at school." After that, she was cast in a special film for the school's anniversary. Those were some very joyful times.
J'ouvre le ciel et joue la nuit, je t'en surveille le vent, la pluie, often a vol à blood, je joue, danse, 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 danse.
Parents are responsible for making strategic decisions in regard to their child's education, such as choosing a school, the form of education, and the type of support. The role of the professionals is to consult and guide you, thus supporting the process of making informed decisions that are in the best interest of the child. However, remember that the final decision is yours. You may not agree with some of the advice given. You have that right.
When Timmy turned 3, it came time for kindergarten. We were offered to go to a recovery kindergarten. Together with groups for children with special educational needs, there were mainstream groups where most children had minor health issues such as asthma or allergies. As the group themselves were small, with my wife, we thought it was a good idea. We visited the principal and psychologist together with our daughter. Both said that she could be in a mainstream group. We submitted the documents. After 2 days, they called to tell us that Timmy was admitted to one of the special groups. It is the best for her, they said. We canceled the application and enrolled her in the neighborhood kindergarten where she had 4 great years.
Given that the primary responsibility of the parents is to protect their children, it is only natural that the family becomes the best advocate of their rights. This role, although natural, is not easy at all. As a parent of a child with a disability, you are likely to encounter discrimination and violated rights more often. It is important to respond and seek change so that your child has access to the same rights and services as other children. In the Multidisciplinary manual for parents, we give useful tips on how to identify the people who can help you solve the problem, how to approach them, how to look for like-minded people among NGOs, media, so that you can find the best solution.
My name is Daniela Jordanova. I am the mother of a young man with spina bifida and hydrocephalus, because of which he uses a wheelchair. My son is now 19 years old. I dare say he went through all the stages of our educational system to get his upper secondary education, starting from kindergarten. When the time came for my son to start school, we knew that we had to look for a school that is partially or even fully architecturally accessible, with a ramp, less stairs, and an adapted toilet. Fortunately for us, we found such school next to our block of flats. So he started in 1st grade. The ramped entrance was at the back of the school, and he never used the same entrance as his peers. But we were happy that the school was accessible, at least to some extent. From 1st to 4th grade, my son's class studied in one classroom, which was on the 1st floor. It was relatively comfortable for him. Over the years, from 1st to 4th grade, many times I noticed that my son needs an elevator or an electric ramp, especially after 5th grade, when pupils don't use one separate classroom, but they all move around the rooms and floors. He needs an elevator to be able to participate in the learning process just like the other children. Since most schools are public, the budget is very limited. This was the main argument during my conversations with the principal and teachers, that the budget is limited and there are no special funds for such an expensive facility. In all meetings with the director and the representatives of the local government, they always repeated that there are no funds left. Another thing that they said saddened me even more. They said that it was not worth the hassle for a single child. What I came to know afterwards was that my son was not the only child at school who needed an elevator. There was apparently another young man whose disease progressed and he had to sit in a wheelchair. So we joined forces with his parents and sent letters together. In the first years, I wrote requests to the director as well as to the local government, but I had no response. The 4th year, I started writing complaints, and again, there was no result. Then I remembered that I could seek help from my neighbors, as I came up with the idea that I could strengthen my complaints with a petition from the locals who would agree that our school should have an accessible environment. And then, luckily for us, after 4 years, funds were finally found. The municipality of Sofia allocated them.
Remember, advocacy is a long-term process. Although at times it may seem hopeless, advocacy works. One of the greatest benefits is that it leads to lasting positive change for everyone. Parents' skills, attitude, and experience have a direct impact on the child's education, how sure he enters the educational system, and how sure he will develop in it. The potential that the kindergarten and school professionals will develop largely depends on the parents. In the PDF Multi-In Manual for Parents, you can read more about the topics we just discussed, but also about the important principles of parenting. Most of us know them well, but it's always good to repeat. Finally, remember that education is not an end in itself. It supports our common goal as parents to raise an independent, self-aware individuals who are able to contribute to the common good despite the difficulties caused by the disability.